what we learned from Mouz versus Vitality. And look away now if you don't want the spoiler, because this was pretty one-sided for me. This was 2-0 in favor of Vitality. 13-7 on Mirage, Mouz's map pick. 13-8, comfortable on Inferno as well. And listen, I think Vitality were good here. I think there were good things to say about them. But I want to start with Mouz, because I think there's way more to say about Mouz. And for me, this was a terrible showing. This was really disappointing. I thought this was actually one of the worst I've seen Mouz from what I can remember. And I hate saying that, but I think the scoreline even flatters them slightly here. I think the rounds they lost were not that close, and I have to look at the scoreboard and straight away say, dude, without Spinks, this would have been an embarrassment. Without Spinks, this would have been embarrassing. Spinks was genuinely their key player in like 80% of their round wins. This guy is so legit. Spinks was fantastic. So many big multi-kill rounds, and especially on T-side Mirage, for example, whenever he actually got put in a post plant in a fairly reasonable position where he could do what he does best in the late round, he was great. He won like 2 or 3 of those T rounds in these late round sort of scenarios, right? And you look at the ratings, and this is one of those games you might come away from and say, oh yeah, okay, look, Spinks has got a good rating here, but he probably just farmed some kills while Mouz were losing. They probably weren't that impactful. No, that was not the case. And like the swing percent shows it. He was having basically on the swing percent similar impact to ZywOo throughout this series. And yet they still got owned. And to be honest, again, the rounds they lost did not look that close. Spinks is legit. Spinks is so good. He's the one player on Mouz, again, who I can say and I can watch and go, yes, you show up in the big moments. You show up all the time. You're the reliable guy. As for the rest of them, I mean, okay, I think Yimfat was fine. He was okay. He did his job. I think Torji was a little quiet at some points, but he wasn't terrible. It's just sometimes he kind of like let the game bypass him. I think on Mirage especially, he didn't really ever force the issue like he maybe could have as that AWPer. You want to be able to take some initiative, right? It's a map where you can be pretty open to go for opening picks. He didn't really do that. I think on Inferno, he was a good bit better, and his rifle was actually pretty good as well. But it's these bottom 2 guys I got to talk about, man. If Mouz are going to make a roster move at any point, for me, it's one of these guys that would go. Exertion, I really like as a player, right? And in group stages, I think he's great. But still, I have this issue where he just seems to fall off in the big games, in the playoff moments. It's not like it happens all the time, but it's a consistent enough trend for me. And you're meant to be one of the star players of this team. These are terrible stats, man. 16 for 32, 0.58 rating. Down there with Brolan, who was also atrocious. 16 for 30, 0.58 rating. Right? And to make it worse, the T-side stats for these guys, oh my god. Exertion 6 for 20, Brolan 4 for 18. This is bad, right? These T-sides were pretty damn terrible, I have to say. And to be honest, I feel a bit bad for Exertion because when I was watching this series, I have been critical of him not showing up in some big games in the past. But this was a series for me where it was more down to the cohesion and the calling. And sometimes as that entry fragger, if you get thrown in first on a bad strat, what can you do, man? Like, you are actually screwed. And I think Exertion, just natural skill as a player, means he shouldn't be going 6 for 20. Like, come on now, right? Let's be real. And by the way, on T-side again, the only player to have a positive KD in the entire server on T-side was Spinks, okay? I can't understate how good this guy was in this series. Seriously. He needs a real team around him, I'm sorry. Like, if this is how it's going to continue. And I want to show you a couple of these moments because Mirage, their economy management was not good. It felt like on T-side, they were on low buys so often. They won like maybe 1 round based on good calling, and they just kept hitting that A site over and over and over again. I think they went B like once in the last round, and every time Vitality didn't have like pressure really elsewhere against them. So Mouz were just running their heads into this A site where often ZywOo was there with the AWP because it was early enough that he didn't feel like he had to move yet. Often they had multiple players ready on the site and the utility wasn't good enough. There were definitely rounds where ZywOo would literally just stare at the wall, wait for the first flash, peek after Mouz threw their first flash, and just hold an angle and get kills. right? And like he was missing shots in this half on Mirage. Like he wasn't even that good, ZywOo. I'm sorry, he wasn't even that good on this CT side, and yet he went 14-5. Right? Like I don't think he even played anywhere near his best, but it was just that easy because the game kept coming to him. This was really disappointing from Mouz. And I just want to show 1 or 2 rounds where it was like, these are the rounds that Mouz always seem to lose that are just so frustrating, right? We'll show this one to start with, right?
Back in the days.
So it's 8-7. Mouz have just won the pistol. This is them having a chance to get back in this game against a Vitality low buy. This is the second half that I didn't really talk about yet. Okay.
Maybe with harder.
You've got Exertion here towards Connector and Brolan playing towards CT. By the way, Torji has an AWP as well in this one. They've lost the mid control. That's okay.
Almost certainly.
Heard that scout shot. Exertion just goes into the open and crouches like that. And it's like, I don't know, man. Do you need to commit that heavy? Do you? Do you really? Okay, okay. And then Brolan knows there's a scout and just peeks into Connector. Peeks into it. 1 HP.
Rollers on 1. There's a lot of damage done here in a low econ round. Guns have now been picked up.
And he just gets run over. And it's just like, those are the rounds where it's like, Vitality just never lose those, right? And those are the giveaways that, especially in MR12, are so brutal, right? And again, like, I hate to harp on Exertion and Brolan, but it's those two again in this scenario in a real frustrating round loss. And by the way, okay, you go to the very next round.
Look, Vitality get them in YouTube.
Oh, that's a bit loud. The very next round, they put their own molly into ramp. They put their own smoke behind it. I think this was Brolan. And they just leave a gap. There's just a gap. And Flames is like, yeah, I'll peek this. Go on. And then he just spots Brolan cross into Sandwich. And you're like, dude, this is too easy, man. Like, these sorts of mistakes, I'm sorry, you just can't afford. And this is the thing I want to say with Brolan. Like, okay, I can get that you're not like, that used to being an in-game leader yet. You're not like a super great in-game leader. That's fine. You can't be this bad of a fragger as well. You can't be making these mistakes as well. I need you to at least be like a good fragger and a not very good in-game leader. Then I can manage that. Then I can handle that. Because I know that people are going to say, oh, well, this was against Vitality. And for what it's worth, I liked what Vitality were doing. They were going for a lot of grouped up plays on T side. It felt like they were almost like realizing that going for these fast grouped up plays were just going to put Mouz under pressure and that Mouz couldn't handle that. And they kept just running and rinsing and repeating it. It almost felt like it was more down to the game state and realizing Mouz are struggling. Let's just abuse that. But this is not just a one-time thing, okay? I have been critical of Chopper as an in-game leader because Spirit have the best CT round win percentage in the world. And then on T side, it's not quite so good. And they have Donk, right, who is very good. So they should be doing a bit better than this. Look at Mouz. This is insane. These numbers are genuinely insane. Mouz are the second best CT team in the world in the last 3 months, over 50 maps against top 20 teams. That's incredible. That's great. On T side, they are the 4th worst team in the top 20 in terms of win percentage. They are 4th worst on T side. Only better than a dogshit Liquid, an Aurora who have not really been at their best, and MIBR who are like barely a top 20 team. What are we doing here, man? This has got to improve, right? And I think when Brolan first became an in-game leader, a lot of us were questioning it. And it's worked for a long, long time. But this right now is the moment that we will see if Brolan is made to be an in-game leader and if he can turn this around, or if this is Mouz now slowly slipping away from the top level. I really believe that because this has been going on for a while now. And I was really impressed when it first happened, and I kind of didn't know how Brolan was calling such a good game, and it felt like it must have been sort of a team effort. And you just wonder if the sort of recent changes we've had that seems to make it a bit harder for T-side is starting to affect them, right? The economy changes, not making it as easy. We saw them get economically wrecked on that Mirage. I don't know, man. It's an interesting position right now. I think that Exertion, I'm still thinking looks a little lost sometimes during games where it gets to those big moments. But the more and more this goes on, the more and more I start to think maybe it is a calling issue, right? And if you think I'm being harsh here, okay, Cyclone said it himself. right? This post-game interview, I think, was so telling. Because I don't know if I've seen Cyclone as a coach really like look like this before. And remember, this isn't like a massive, like, top tier. This isn't a major, right? This isn't a top tier tournament, right? And yet, listen to this interview.
And today especially felt like we lost more to ourselves. And it was mentally, emotionally repeating ourselves. I think at both maps, we get to a position where if we're a good team, we can pull ahead. There's the 7-8 on Mirage where we have a little bit of momentum. We had the last 4 rounds, the last T round, the last 3 rounds on.
So again, he's mentioning that 7-8. And by the way, I don't know if I've seen Cyclone. Like, you can see how upset and disappointed he is in this loss. You can see it on his face. He knows this is a bad one.
CT side, and they win a half by situation. Yeah. Again, also on Inferno, we get to a 6-6, and yeah, it's just really frustrating. And I think we have a long way to go if we want to be at the top.
There you go. Like, Cyclone himself saying it, and also just the vibe of that interview. Like, it actually, like, it kind of hurts me to watch. Like, he just sounds almost defeated. Like he said, he feels like they just beat themselves. That's crazy. That's crazy. And we go on. He says more.
For us right now, there's some much needed time at home. We had 40 days on the road. We instantly came back home. We had to qualify for this year, so it was official. It was practice, and there's a lot of gaps in our play.
So I will say, 40 days on the road, that is tough, right? Like, and that's the one thing that I will say I can come away with some, not credit, but some kind of like an excuse here. Like, they've had a long time on the road, and this is going to be their opportunity now with some time off to really figure out, can we fix this on T side? Because oftentimes they don't look fully on the same page. I don't see them winning rounds really based off of strategy and tactics and team play. Like, most of the time, their best chance is brute force a bomb site and get Spinks into a post plant. That's not reliable. Let's be real.
Right now, and we need some time to fix it. We need to pinpoint what are the areas that we can improve the most in. T-side's an obvious case.
By the way, again, Cyclone himself saying that the T side is the obvious issue, one of the obvious issues right now. So, like, I'm not saying this out of hate for Mouz. I'm saying it out of love and wanting them to be the best they can be and compete against the top teams, right? Because especially when they have Spinks doing so much. Spinks is in incredible form right now. You can't waste this. I don't want you to waste this. I really don't.
The calling is an obvious case, and also making sure that we always show up in numbers on the stage. And it's the case right now that we're not. T-sides are not great, and we need to figure that out. And some time at home will do us good.
So there you go. Cyclone himself basically saying as much. Like, he basically agrees. And, I mean, to be fair, he can't not, right? Like, you've got the numbers in front of you. It's pretty blatantly obvious. I'll be honest, my gut instinct here, I don't know if Brolan is the guy long-term to lead this team. I didn't think he was at the time. I think he's done very well considering. This is the big moment for me. This is the turning point. And the question is, where would they go if they did decide they needed a more, like, I guess, established in-game leader? I mean, weirdly, Shuey feels like a kind of obvious pick. I know he's doing bad on Liquid, but, like, I would still consider him. But obviously, with the way that he's left the team, maybe not. But yeah, still, like, overall, pretty disappointed with Mouz today. I will touch on Vitality. I don't know if there was much to say, honestly. I mean, you might look at these stats and say that Rops didn't have a great game. I don't think that's true. I honestly think this was just a game where Vitality were winning rounds so early on that Rops was not needed, right? Rops is incredible in the late round. If it gets into a 2v2, a 3v3, that's when Rops springs to life. They didn't need that today, right? Like, on that Mirage, literally, they were just running onto A every round, winning the trades, and that was it, right? Like, he wasn't needed, right? And I will say, on CT side, their rotations towards A were good when Mouz were just going for the A play themselves loads of times. Like, Mezzy was over there a lot. Apex and Zywoo leaning over there a lot. So that was good. But yeah, Mezzy just super solid. Apex had a good fragging game. Nothing to complain about. I think Flames is one that I was wondering if he was getting targeted on that A site because he's had poor form recently. I was wondering if Mouz came into this and said, Flames hasn't been at his best lately. Let's try and hit that A site. Let's try and punish him. If that was the case, that didn't happen because Flames was good today. He was solid enough on that A site hold. I think he can be happy with his performance. And then ZywOo, good game from him. I think there, again, were brief moments. Like, the second half on Inferno, on that CT side, there was this string of rounds where when the game comes to ZywOo, he is, like, clearly so incredible. Like, when the game comes to him, he is the best in the world, I think. But the thing that frustrates me is he never forces the issue, right? So Donk forces the issue so much more. And like in this game, ZywOo doesn't need to do anything. It's fine to sit back. It's in those closer games where like you need someone to just say, I'm going to take the game by the scruff of the neck. The ZywOo doesn't do that as much, right? And the reason it's frustrating is because you see he has that ability when he positions himself correctly in like a few rounds in a row and just gets like a 3K and a 3K and a 3K. And you're like, oh my God, if he can just keep doing this, this is insane. But it doesn't always end up working out like that. I also think on Inferno, T-side was pretty good from Vitality. They kind of just went for, again, grouped up plays a lot, but I quite liked it. Their spacing was solid. And really, I don't think we can say Vitality are back, but the main thing I was impressed by was they didn't really make that many mistakes. And I think that was what Vitality were doing really well at their best. They generally looked like they were on the same page. They generally looked like they had good communication. Their players all played pretty well. I don't think this is the game to judge them, though. Because I don't think Mouz really pushed them. I don't think Mouz really tested them. I'm hoping G2 give them that game tomorrow. Because G2 look in very good form. I think it's quite an exciting final, honestly. Because I don't know if we've fully seen Vitality tested yet. And I think that could be a fun one. I hope we get that Inferno, man. That's what I want to see, because I honestly think G2 might be the best Inferno team in the world. And if they want to prove that, they can beat Vitality tomorrow, which is very exciting. Anyway, overall, listen, Mouz, they're going to take some time away. We judge them on the major. We always judge them on the major. But for me, like if they start to slowly slide down and maybe at the major, like they don't quite make playoffs or they get knocked out in the quarterfinals, I don't know. I would consider an in-game leader change if it stays like this. I really would. Because Cyclone, I think he believes he can develop Roland into that sort of in-game leader. But I don't know if I see it. It feels like they're taking steps back right now. And now that T-side is getting harder, maybe Roland's getting found out. Maybe. We'll see. Again, they've got time to turn it around, right? This is the moment that we've got to see it from them. But that's all. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time.